A new Shop of Evil, the Proto Workshop, and HQ28 are all coming in the Boom Beach update. This is the biggest update we've seen in a few years, so let's jump right in. The Proto Workshop is a brand new building you can unlock at HQ11, and this means you can have permanent Proto-Troops. We've already had about 15 of them in the game. Most Proto-Troops only came 1 or 2 weeks in a year, but now they're gonna cycle between 4 of them every single week. So when you first unlock the building, you have one of the Proto-Troops available, in this case, everyone's favorite Melon Bombers. And the way it works is, you train it using gold, takes a little time just like normal troops, and once it's done, it goes in your storage. So at any time you can load one into a boat and do an attack. The one difference with Proto-Troops now is, whether or not they die in a hit, you lose that Proto-Troop once the attack is done. That's just a way to not always use the super overpowered Proto-Troops forever. You still have to wait another week to get more of them. So once you do an attack, you have to go back to the Proto Workshop to load another one. But because this is a permanent feature and you can load a bunch of different Proto-Troops, we can see crazy hits like Heavy Choppas, Melon Bombers, Lasertrons, all in the same attack. So as soon as the update lands, as long as you're HQ11, you can unlock this building, and if you're beyond that, start upgrading it. When you upgrade the Proto Workshop, it does one of 3 things. One is it can add a training slot, and that just means you can train up multiple Proto-Troops at once, and this can go all the way until 7 training slots at max level. The other thing that can happen when you upgrade the Proto Workshop is just increasing the storage capacity. This is probably the most important because at level 1 you could only house 4 Proto-Troops, but as you upgrade it, this can go all the way to 22 at HQ28. This means 22 individual boats of a Proto-Troop, so when you do your attacks, it could mean almost 3 full attacks of 8 boats, or let's say you want to do just 2 boats per attack, it's 11 of them. So either way, it gives you the freedom to mix and match how many you take in every attack. And the third thing that can happen when you upgrade the Proto Workshop is just having another Proto-Troop available in a cycle. Because at HQ11, you can only have the first Proto-Troop slot in a week, and the workshop level at HQ16 gives you a second one, HQ21 gives you the third slot, and finally you can have all 4 different Proto-Troops at HQ26. So this does mean you gotta hope a little bit that the good Proto-Troops are in the first few slots, especially if they're not maxed out, but in the cycles that we saw, it usually seems like in the first or second slot. And you can see there, when the Proto Workshop is maxed out, you can just queue up a bunch of Proto-Troops. If you want to use Time Savers diamonds to speed it up, that's possible. Or if you want to do it all at once, you can use diamonds on the right side. Even though on the developer version it seems like less than 24 hours for a cycle, once the update lands, it's gonna be every single week 4 new Proto-Troops. So one cycle can have like Lasertrons, Heavy Choppas, another one with Rainmakers, Career Cannons, and so on. All of which is gonna be in the storage after you make them, and then you can load them up for your attacks. Now you'll notice all of these Proto-Troops are just level 1, so once the update lands, you'll have to save this new currency, Proto Tokens, to get them to max level. And if you want to upgrade them, you're going to go in the armory. There's a new tab for Proto-Troops, where you can see all the options and using these Proto Tokens to start upgrading them. The only way to get these Proto Tokens is by doing the daily Cycle of Evil. And whereas before, only Dr. T had a new threat level which can get more difficult every single time, now that also applies to Gearheart, Hammerman Strikes Back, and Imitation Game. So on War Factory right here, the more you clear the base, you get more Proto Tokens, and the other new currency, Evil Coins. So we can do an attack right now. Another cool screen on the top right are these battle stats. Every single time you do an attack, you can easily see how much offense statues you have, and how much defense statues the base has. So an easier way, especially on player bases, you don't have to scout for all the blue statues, you can just see on the top right. So when we finish our attack, we got Proto Tokens to upgrade our Proto-Troops, and the Evil Coins we can use in a new Shop of Evil. And these are the main thing that's replacing normal resources on the Cycle of Evil. But the cool part is, you choose exactly what you want to spend it on. So there's going to be some weekly offers, time savers, power stones, and even some monthly offers with Proto parts, even as far as build tokens and extra builder. And if you don't want any of those, there's always going to be resources to buy. The limit for these evil coins is going to be 100,000, and some quality of life for low levels, Dr. T is changing, so he's a lot less difficult for low levels. And when you buy something like the extra builder, you can see these boosters in a whole new tab. When you check your inventory, you see we have like 100,000 of everything. But now under boosters, you see when you have them active. Along with evil coins as a new currency, we're also introducing camo tickets. And not exactly sure all the ways to get them yet, but you can use these camo tickets to unlock some older skins. So when you click on the HQ, you can use these tickets to buy island skins, HQ skins, and from what it seems like, maybe a year has to pass before buying older skins, but at least now there's a way to get them. Of course, if you buy the Boom Pass, that's the fastest way to get new skins. And if you are buying anything in the shop, like the Boom Pass or Diamonds, Instant Training, would appreciate if you use a creator code. If you want to support this channel, you can use code Stoneheart. Now the new Proto Workshop and Shop of Evil, that's coming for pretty much all players. But for those who are maxed out, we have HQ28 also coming. So you can see the new look right there, cool little helipad, which is also going to give you an extra iron storage and a shock mine. This also gives one extra level on the Proto Workshop, some more storage right there. We'll show the armory first. After you upgrade it, there's a whole host of troops and abilities you can get one more level. So if you saved a bunch of gold in your resource boat or attack plans, that should really help out. And we have the mega crab coming up pretty soon, so a great way to farm resources, get these upgrades in. Of course, it's going to depend on what troop combos you like, but maybe focusing on really strong troops like Scorchers or Bombers, and also probably Barrage and Artillery. The stuff that's not getting a level are things like Flares, Shock Bombs, Shock Mines, and Smoke. And moving on to other upgrades, we have one level on Gunboat, giving one more GBE. We have an upgrade on Landing Crafts. This one maybe not a high priority because it only gives one extra rifle. And a few resource buildings like Wood Storage, one more upgrade on Vault. But the biggest upgrade is probably going to be the Sculptor, because this means now you can have 13 statues. So whether you're pushing VP or Crab or even Operations, you got one more statue to work with, and offense is just getting that much stronger. This may not be for everyone since 13 statues means more power powder used every week, especially if you full boost, but let me know how you feel about it. And aside from all these upgrades, we have a bunch of defense upgrades, pretty much every single defense except shock launchers. And I know it's a bit sad, no new visuals, but each of these defenses get some pretty decent stats. Even boom cannons now having 25,000 HP, so more health than a Proto. And for some reason, bunkers have 2 new levels, so now you can put up to 12 housing space. The last set of upgrades for HQ28 are gonna be in the Hero Hut. We got one new level on every single hero, and a few of them getting level 7 abilities. We have Kavan's Ice Shield getting one more level, another upgrade on Sparky. It doesn't make her spawn critters any faster, but maybe the biggest level 7 ability is Bullet's Energy Drink, because now the regen is going from 42% to 50%. That one might be a big upgrade for Crab too. Otherwise, you have Captain Rudy getting an upgrade, and his Wingman Rush to level 7. So far, the biggest upgrade in HQ28 might have been the Sculptor, but we have one big building that's also getting a level, and that's going to be the Engraver. So first, a little bit of balancing. Now, every time you want to activate an engraving, it's only going to cost 1 power powder. When you upgrade the Engraver to level 2 at HQ28, now you can unlock defense engravings. Here's a quick look through at level 1, but we can make them maxed out. Most of these are straightforward, so when people attack you, they can get less GBE per building, or you can increase the speed of your defenses, but we will highlight a few of the cooler ones. One of them is Life Drain, so every second your opponent's troops are going to take 1.5% of their max HP. So this means even if they're as squishy as Zukas, or as bulky as Scorchers, in about a minute or so if you don't do anything, they're just gonna die. So maybe a really tough one against people loving all Scorchers, troops like that, because at least with squishy troops you can use medkits to heal them up, but with things like Scorchers, it's not gonna do much. Another cool defense engraving is Overheat, so at max level, as soon as you drop a hero, you can't even use your abilities for 30 seconds. And this isn't just in the beginning of the attack too. If you use it one time, you gotta wait 30 more seconds. So it can be pretty annoying for certain types of attacks. Another cool engraving is support. This means that when you target one building, it doesn't take all the damage, it transfers some of it into surrounding buildings. Like here throwing artillery on some buildings, but you notice that a bunch of buildings around it also get damaged, just not as much. And this could really affect warrior players, but not really sure in a good or bad way. Because when you go ahead and let's say flare onto the HQ, it's gonna take a lot less damage initially, but you're basically killing everything around it at the same time. So as you do some damage, you have all the surrounding buildings also dying. So it could backfire as a defender, like putting a bunch of flames machine guns next to the HQ. Even if the warriors don't target those buildings, they could die all the same. And the last defense engraving we'll highlight, which I think is the coolest, is mind control. The defender gets this sort of energy every second, and if the attacker loses some of his own troops, they're gonna be respawned on the HQ and then start fighting them. So here we lost a Scorcher, now it's coming out, fighting our own medics. Like this is probably the closest we'll get to troops versus troops. And it seems like rocket choppas don't come popping out either. So pretty sure it's like how Kavan's second wind works, whatever he can revive, that's what you can get back. And we can do a deeper dive later into defense engravings, but these are the 4 really unique ones. If you want one that's really passive, there's Tinkering, which lets you do an extra prototype, so you can have 5 instead of 4. And speaking of prototype defenses, they're going through a lot of changes too. Especially Mark 2 and 3 protos, they're all getting buffed in health, and quite a few in damage. So whereas before you had Shock Blaster level 3s having 25,000 HP, now they're going to have 35,000. And that applies to most standard protos, but the really beefy ones like Damage Am Shield Gens, instead of 35,000 HP, now they're going to have 60,000. So almost twice as much health, and keep in mind, this also applies in Operations and Mega Crab. We'll have a whole list of the prototype changes right there. Again, all of the Mark 3s are having their health increased, but some weaker ones like Simmos, Boom Surprises, Microwaves, they're also getting a pretty decent damage increase. And the last little bit coming in this update are some bug fixes and improvements, so we'll show those on screen. Some small and cool ones, but nothing compared to what we already covered. The update should be coming sometime this week, and again we have this brand new Proto workshop, new Shop of Evil, and HQ28 with all these defense engravings. So let me know what you think about the update in the comments, and that's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.